What is up, guys? So, since the birth of Xbox, when they came out on the scene, we have seen a large amount of the community treat Xbox with arm's length. There's been some comments on why this is to be. Like, is it because Microsoft is this trillion-dollar bad guy? Is it because they're a major operating system and everybody has to go to work, a majority of you, and work on Windows, and so you just have this deep-seated hatred for Microsoft because it's Windows and the Xbox is associated with that? Not at any time, though, did I fully understood why the Xbox console has had as much stigma, as we'll call it, since its inception. I've had a great time playing the Xbox. They've done some very innovative things, like with the original launch of the Xbox. It was one of the first game consoles to have an integrated hard drive inside it. You didn't have to go out and buy these little silly little memory cards to go inside them to store your saved games. You were able to download music onto them. And then fast forward into the Xbox 360, they pretty much decided to really hammer it out of the park really going all in with Xbox Live. And the Xbox 360 became their premier console to have to play online multiplayer. And that's where we really saw some titles get really some major stardom, like with Halo 3. It had been unheard of that, people would stand in line outside of their local GameStop at midnight just to get their hands on one of these games. And I was one of them. And that's when we realized that gaming was really going to explode in the long run. But we also saw the dip, the launch of the Xbox One, the VCR, Donnie D going, hey, here you go. But there's been a lot of ups and downs for the Xbox brand. That being said, there has been a large amount of people that have pretty much garnered a large following, a reputation, a livelihood on just hammering into the ground every mistake Xbox has made, whether it's because of past mistakes that Microsoft themselves have made or just things Xbox as the brand have done. There's no willingness to ever forgive and forget. But meanwhile, when some of these people get caught, driving down the road drunk, speeding, or doing other things that get them kind of like in the public eye of like, oh, I'm sorry. They beg for apologies. They beg to be forgiven. And that's what makes me laugh because, it's always fun to point the finger, but it's never fun to have the finger pointed at you. And so therefore, you beg for forgiveness, but you never treat people the way you want to be treated. I mean, it's 2023. The phrase of the day is who gives a care. But that's where I want to say that the Xbox platform, gaming in general, has really helped me through some dark times, especially when I made some mistakes that really made me just kind of climb into a hole, and I just escaped through playing video games. I was not out here counting pixels. That was one of the big things, like on the Xbox One versus the PS4, the whole 1080p versus 900p. And one of those individuals, Dustin Legary, we all know who he is. That whole little, meme he made of himself on the thing, like over here. And that gentleman, yeah, he's trying to convince people that there is no Xbox tax. He might not per se be wrong that there's no Xbox tax, but people are basically not willing to let go of what has happened in the past. They want the status quo to stay the same because that's what makes them money. They get paid by PlayStation a lot of money to hype the PlayStation brand on a lot of gaming media websites. They also find it very easy to create content and tear down the Xbox brand because trying to uplift the Xbox brand doesn't garner you a lot of attention. I know this for a fact because if I was to come out here right now and start bashing Xbox every single day on my channel, I'd probably get a lot more subscribers. But because I choose to stick to the fact that I enjoy the Xbox brand, I've enjoyed what the Xbox brand has done. They have done some very innovative things to really help push gaming forward and make it more inclusive. But no, I don't care that, like, literally, I don't care that Microsoft tried to force Internet Explorer on me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because why? Water under the bridge. It's not like that anymore. And just like what it's not anymore is this is where people are getting outraged. Xbox has really cemented themselves into a major position in gaming. We're starting to see rumors, myths, that PlayStation is actually in an asinine amount of debt. And guess what? Yeah, everybody tries to hold up like, well, Xbox and Microsoft has debt. Microsoft literally makes trillions of dollars. They print money. The Xbox brand makes up, I think, like 6 or 7% of what Microsoft does. Sony and PlayStation, and I don't care what green or whatever the hell you smoke out there, PlayStation is part of Sony for starters, and the PlayStation brand makes up almost 55 to 60% of Sony's revenue. Like, the brand is that important to Sony's existence. So when you're in a large amount of debt and your flagship brand is starting to go into the troubled waters of hard times, you get a little bit of concernicus. And we're starting to see that now. And the funny part is, I think the gaming media doesn't know what to do, because obviously PlayStation is probably more than likely going to start dialing back all those little fancy dollars that they would shovel out into these gaming media journalists and content creators. And they're probably not going to get all the freebies anymore. They're probably not going to get wined and dined as much. And so, yeah, that's because that's stuff that, you know, like, well, Xbox doesn't give me breakfast, so why should I talk good about them? Let's see if they hold true to that train of thought. Keep that energy. But this is where can you really say the Xbox tax doesn't exist, though? Because, I mean, we saw one of the lead members over at IGN say that if Xbox made Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6 exclusive, there would be backlash. Not misquoting you on that one, but backlash. And I find that really hilarious, because what does backlash really mean? Oh, I know. Getting butthurt at the launch of Starfield, talking about how Microsoft bought Bethesda, talking about how Microsoft bought ABK, and you're going to basically nix a game that a lot of people worked hard to put out for you, and you're going to give them a point less because of things you don't like about Microsoft. Which is why I don't focus on IGN at all. And I have to laugh that these gaming media websites are pretty much over here stuck in the La Brea tar pits of trying to hold on to the memories of yesteryear and keeping the PlayStation brand sacred and tearing down the Xbox brand every chance they get, writing numerous articles about how the player base for Bethesda's Starfield is starting to tank because, like, people aren't playing it as much anymore compared to other games. Well, no kidding, it's a single player game. And also, they're trying to compare it to, well, how come there's so many more people playing in Skyrim? Well, Skyrim currently has mod support. The community there has made a large amount of DLCs for the game, the mod support. There is things to keep Skyrim alive. And as soon as those same tactics and systems are put into Starfield, we're going to see a large amount of people continuously play Starfield, and it's going to be like its own little ecosystem, just like Skyrim is. And I mean, we could go on about this all day long, but that's where I have to say that the media may not exactly be meeting up at the Holiday Inn on the first Saturday of every May and trying to somehow cohesively get a battle plan together on how they're going to tear down Microsoft and Xbox. But I will say that they have all grown accustomed to, they have grown complacent. They just know, if I write an article that bashes Xbox, I will get X amount of views or clicks, versus trying to kind of just honorably just give the news. I mean, let's talk about what PlayStation has released no games really other than Spider-Man 2. It released in a very horrible state. We saw videos. I mean, I can't think of another game off the top of my head right now where the main character of the game turned into a cube on the ground and all of a sudden it was Spider Cube, not Spider-Man. I feel like the game Spider-Man 2 launched in a worse state than Redfall. I'm not going to come out and say that Redfall was this, piece of art and it just was beautiful, but I do feel that it did not have some of the problems that Spider-Man 2 had. What about the fact that Sony has made numerous anti-consumer, greedy decisions to treat their fan base like an ATM? We've seen Xbox really move the needle on creating pro-consumer services like Game Pass. We've seen them move the needle on creating hardware like the adaptive controller to make it easier for handicapped players to have access to games and the ability to play them. And Xbox always continuously pushes the needle forward on making gaming a better place. And PlayStation is continuously trying to build these brick walls and make this sacred garden that they control. And it's like the gaming media is just completely outraged that Microsoft is starting to make little cracks in these walls of the sacred garden. And slowly but surely, we're going to break down these walls like the Berlin Wall back in the day. Let's break down this wall. And I'm just curious on, can these gaming media websites actually get it together and let go of their feelings and actually kind of do what is right and give the news, or are they going to completely kind of corner themselves out of Microsoft wanting to even toss them a bone here and there? Because we can all see that Microsoft has no problem making a presence for themselves because they are already used to the gaming media crapping all over them continuously. And that is where the outrage for the Xbox brand is setting in. The Xbox fans are outraged that this is even occurring. The PlayStation fans are outraged that Xbox has finally got a major horse in the game. And the gaming media fanboys and fangirls are also completely outraged because for the first time in a long time, they're having to essentially do what they don't feel comfortable with, and that is actually talk good about the Xbox brand on a more regular basis. Don't get me wrong, they are out there trying to talk good about the Xbox brand, but they enjoy talking smack a lot quicker, and it's a lot easier for them to get those clicks that they're so desperate for. So that's just my little rant about it. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all got our own opinion on the situation, but at the end of the day, let's just be honest and truthful. This is just getting absolutely dumb. Like, I have given up on I've given up on gaming media. I turn into YouTube to get the information I need anymore. I have the sources that I trust and the sources I prefer. And at this point, IGN, the Ignorant Gaming News Network, and the whole plethora of the rest of the gaming media out there that seems to worry more about clicks versus facts, it's their loss. Hopefully they could kind of pivot, or at this point, I hope that there is some other gaming media websites out there, some small ones like Season Gaming, and I think like Level 1 Gaming. I really hope they get their chance to shine in helping provide premier gaming news without all the stupid ass politics in between. So that's my rant. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. The spiel, of course, please like, subscribe, comment down below, all that fun stuff that YouTube likes to see. Really helps me grow the channel and also make the algorithm happy. Also, check out the end card on the video, watch my latest video, explore my playlists, and as always, everybody, remember, just play the games you want on the platform you prefer, no matter what anybody says. I am Centurion1307, and thank you for watching.